Hello and thank you for tuning into my channel. Today we're going to take Lotus Biscoff biscuits and coffee and make the lightest cheesecake, my Biscoffee Cheesecake. As always, there's a full list of ingredients in the description below, or you can take a screenshot now. And we're going to get started by making the base. So first of all, we're going to take 125 grams of Lotus Biscoff biscuits and we're going to put them into a blender or food processor and blend them to a crumb. Next, we're going to transfer to a bowl and add 50 grams of melted butter. We're going to stir that and make sure that all the butter has been incorporated into the biscuit crumbs. So now I'm going to take a 20cm or 8-inch cake pan and I'm going to empty all of the biscuit crumbs into the bottom. Using a spatula, I'm going to press them flat, making sure that there's no gaps left and that there's a nice even layer ready to take our cheesecake. So once you're happy that you have a lovely smooth layer and there's no gaps, it's time to put this into the fridge and allow it to set before we make the next stage of the cheesecake, the filling. We're going to start by taking half a sachet or 6 grams of powdered gelatin and blooming that with 50 milliliters of water. You want to make sure all the gelatin has been hydrated and we're going to leave it to stand for 10 minutes. In the meantime, we're going to take 1.5 teaspoons of instant coffee and we're going to combine that with 50 milliliters of cold water. We're then going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We're going to give it a stir and put that to one side until later. We're now going to take 425 grams of cream cheese and combine that with 75 grams of Greek Yoghurt. Now we're going to take 90 grams of Biscoff spread, if I can get it off the spoon. And we're going to add our coffee mix, which I have now realised that the bowl I've chosen is way too small. So we transfer to a bigger bowl to make it easier to mix. And we're going to give it a whisk to make sure that everything is lovely and creamy and beautifully combined together. Once we're happy that everything looks how it should be, it's time to put this to one side and to get on to the next stage. Depending on your egg size, you're going to need 3 to 4 eggs. Start by cracking these eggs into a bowl, and then we're going to start by taking out the yolks using our fingers. It's a really good technique. Rather than moving the yolk from shell to shell, you just use your fingers to pick up the yolk and remove the white from around the yolk, and then you're good to go. I think this is a great technique and makes everything a little bit faster. So now we're going to take 90 grams of the egg white that we've just separated and weigh it out into a bowl ready to whisk. In the meantime, we're going to take a saucepan and we're going to weigh out 125 grams of caster sugar and we're going to mix that with 50 milliliters of water. Effectively what we're making now is an Italian meringue. So we're going to mix the sugar and the water together to make sure that all the sugar is hydrated. If any of the sugar isn't hydrated, what could happen is it will crystallize before you're ready to pour it into your egg white. Another tip I'll give you is make sure there's no sugar on the sides of the pan. In the meantime, we're just going to stir the hydrated gelatin because that's going to go into the sugar when we're ready. So now we've got everything ready, we're ready to start cooking the sugar. So we're going to put that onto the heat and we're going to take it to 121 degrees. In the meantime, we're going to start whisking the egg whites until the egg whites gather around the whisk. Once the egg whites have gathered around the whisk, we'll turn the mixer off till the sugar is at the correct temperature. Be careful as the sugar is very hot, but once you reach 121 degrees, it's time to take the sugar off the heat. Now we're going to take the gelatin that we've hydrated previously and we're going to add it to the hot sugar mix. We're going to stir it to dissolve and we're going to pour it straight into the egg white and turn it up to full speed and whisk until the bowl starts to feel cool. Once the bowl is cool to touch, we turn off the machine and we're going to take 1/3 of the meringue and we're going to whisk it into the cheese mix. This is just going to allow us to temper the cheese mix to allow us to fold in the final 2/3 of the meringue to get an absolutely incredibly light and fluffy cheesecake. So using a spatula and a motion of scooping the bottom of the bowl and folding it on top repeatedly, we'll proceed like this until all of the meringue has been incorporated into the cheesecake mix. Once it's looking beautiful and homogeneous and everything has been incorporated, we're ready to start filling the cheesecake base. I find the best way to do this is to tip all of the cheesecake mix into the mold, pat it down with the spatula and then give it a few taps just to level it out. using the spatula the whole time to make sure that it's beautiful and level, and then a few final taps. So now that goes into the freezer for 30 minutes just to allow the top half to set while we do the glaze. Now this glaze is really simple but delicious. You take 100 grams of the Biscoff spread and you warm it gently in the microwave, and then you pour it on top of the cheesecake. It is that simple. And using a circular and rocking motion, just ensuring that the glaze covers all the gaps on the top. Once you've done that, it's time to set it in the fridge for up to 6 hours. After 6 hours, you want to take a bowl and place the cheesecake on top. You can use a warm towel, but I'm using a blowtorch just to run it around the outside to loosen the cheesecake. Using a little bit of force, you want to push down and pull up, and the cheesecake should come out of the mold like so. We're going to move everything out of the way and we're just going to put the cheesecake down. So now if you're going for the simple elegance, you can serve the cheesecake like so, but I'm going to take the remaining biscuits and I'm just going to crush them with a rolling pin. So we're using the remaining biscuits here, but if you wanted, you could use some crushed nuts or some grated chocolate. I mean, you could use whatever you wanted. After covering the outside edge of the cheesecake with the crushed biscuits, I'm just going to put a little border around the top of the cheesecake with the remaining biscuits like so. If you didn't want to do that, alternatively you could just put a layer of crushed biscuits on top and that would look equally as good. Using a warm knife, cut your slice as big as you like and lift it out, and there it is. That is light, fluffy, airy, beautifully glazed, and you have the texture from the biscuit on the top and the bottom. There are new videos like this every week, so if you enjoyed it or you learned something, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss one of my videos. All that's left now is to taste it. It's absolutely delicious. I've been the London Chef. Thank you for watching.